Do you guys get recommended videos like this in your YouTube feed where a YouTube financial influencer will suggest investment techniques, investment styles, but they never back it up with actual performance metrics and performance historical data? That happens a lot to me. And in today's video, I want to take one of these videos as a case study and break down the suggested investment allocations and markets and run a backtest in RealTest on real historical data and see if this strategy actually works. None of the material in this video is financial advice. I'm experienced in managing my own finances, but I'm not qualified to give anyone advice on what to buy or sell. You should always do your own research and due diligence before engaging in trading or investing, and please seek professional guidance if you need it. So I'm not picking on this channel. This is just a random channel I got recommended the other day, and I watched this video. It was very similar to a investment portfolio I actually use, a passive ETF portfolio. But in today's video, I want to break down this portfolio from this YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel is Raymond La. I hope I pronounced that okay. And the allocation is split between VAS, VGS, and cash. So VAS is an Australian Vanguard ETF that covers most of the Aussie market. I think it's the top 300 stocks in Australia by market cap. VGS is a global ETF, but it's heavily weighted to the US. So it's mostly US stocks with, I think it's 1,500 stocks in VGS, but it also has exposure to emerging markets, Asian markets, that sort of thing. And then we have cash. So I'll leave a link to this video below if you're interested in it. It is for Australians. So if you're not Aussie, this might not apply to you, but the concepts in this video will still be relevant. So make sure to keep watching. So I'll just quickly skip through some of this video. The allocation is 2 ETFs and a high interest rate cash position. Go and watch the rationale here if you're interested in that. Here are the benefits he mentions. Now, this is just theoretical returns based on compounding investments. It's not actually anything to do with the historical performance of this particular allocation. So that's what bothers me whenever I see these sorts of videos, because it's not hard to backtest this stuff. So it's annoying that a lot of traders and investors on YouTube don't do this. But anyway, I'm using RealTest to backtest this stuff. I've shown you this software on the channel before. It's not something I've done a lot of content on, but I'll do some more in the future. But for today, I just wanted to I'll bring this over. This is my script. So we have our 3 market allocations. For today's test, I'm using the AAA high interest rate ETF, which is a beta shares ETF. It's a high interest cash ETF. It provides exposure to Australian cash deposits with attractive monthly income distributions. There is risk involved in this. If we come down here, it does explain the disclaimer. An investment in AAA does not receive the benefit of any government guarantee. So it's not the same as having a bank account. And in fact, you'd be better off putting your cash in a fixed term deposit bank account than investing in AAA if you're going to use this sort of investment approach. But I can't plug a fixed term deposit bank account into RealTest to get those results. So I'm using AAA as a substitute for a high cash position, high interest cash position, but we're still going to use VAS and VGS. So we're going to get pretty accurate results. One problem with this approach is that some of these ETFs are quite new. They're young ETFs. They've only been around for about 10 years, some of them. One of them, I think it was VGS, has only been around since 2015. And so to get an accurate result, we need to include all 3 of these positions in our backtest, which means we need to backtest with our start date, starting with the youngest ETF, which is only going to give us from 2015 till today. So not a large sample size, unfortunately. But when you consider we're doing year-on-year investments, we nearly have 10 years worth of information. We've been through COVID, the COVID crash. So we have some decent variety of market conditions included in our sample size, sample period. So we'll get a decent idea of whether this is something worth pursuing and investigating further, or if it's just not worth our trouble. So too long didn't read version is we're backtesting from 2015 till now. So that's not a lot of data to work with, data to work with for fellow Aussies, but that's fine. For today's purposes, we have no choice. It's the best we can do. We can't backtest what we don't have. Our allocations here. So if I bring up this YouTube video again and we go to allocations, he breaks down your investment style based on your accumulation phase, your wealth accumulation phase, which I think is fair. So Raymond classes the wealth accumulation phase as being between the years of about 20 years old, I'd say 18 years old, working age, until your late 30s. So from about the age of 20 to 39, we are going to be in wealth accumulation, which means aggressive. We're going to invest aggressively. In this case, 30% into the ASX ETF, the VAS, and 70% into global stocks. And the whole point of this portfolio is that you just keep this running for your entire life, and you just keep investing steadily, dollar cost averaging into these ETFs each month, each quarter, each year, however you like to do it. That's the idea. It's not what I'm telling you to do. That's the idea behind this portfolio. The next phase is your 40s to 50s, and that's your transition phase. That's transitioning into retirement. That's where you start to ramp up the defensive aspects of your investment portfolio. So we start introducing more cash, starting with about 10%. You could bump that up a bit depending on how close you are to this side of the transition phase. But 10% is a good starting point. You could even have 10% during this phase. Depends how risk tolerant you are. It wouldn't kill you to have 10% cash in an investment portfolio. It's dry powder for when the markets, provide a discount, aka that's a euphemism for crash. You could have 10% in gold as well, or even crypto if you really want to be aggressive. But 10% into something other than invested in traditional finance is fine. Either defensive or highly aggressive, highly speculative. Depends where you're at in your journey, wealth journey. The final phase is wealth preservation phase. That's about the age of 65 and above, typical retirement age. That's when you want to protect your capital, preserve your capital. We have a 30% cash allocation, 20% Aussie allocation, 50% global allocation. So we'll start with the wealth accumulation phase. Let's see how this would have performed over the past 10 years if you invested your capital into VAS and VGS with this allocation. So we've got 30% into VAS, so Aussie, 30%, 70% into global stocks, and 0% in cash. Now, just a side tangent for those of you who want to follow along, if you have access to RealTest and Norgate data, I'll link below in the pinned comment to my video guide on how to set all this up. It does cost money. It's not free, but it's pretty valuable if you are a serious investor and trader, especially in the stock market. This is purely for stocks. If we go to Watchlist library, I need to create a static watch list here to track these ETFs. So if we click stock market, the first one is VAS, so I need to add that to my watch list. Next one's VGS. I need to add that. I'm doing the AU suffix because this is the Aussie market. Again, if you're in the US or Europe or whatever, you can substitute these with your equivalent ETF to see how this sort of allocation would perform. The last one was AAA, high interest cash ETF. I'm also going to add in gold here because I want to show you guys how that impacts this portfolio, allocating to gold instead of cash as your defensive position. So that's that. I need to give this a name. I'll just call this, I'll hashtag it so it shows up first in my list. I'll just call this YouTube ETF. ETFs, save, exit, close that. And then up here in your include list, this is where you find the watch list you just made, YouTube ETFs. Let's have a look. Here's our allocations, 30% Aussie market, 70% global market, and 0% cash. Let's run our first test. There we go. Dates, February 2015 until today. We have 2,400 days. We have a 10% average annual return with a 26% max drawdown. That's honestly not bad. When you consider that a typical passive buy and hold of SPY or the All Ordinaries in Australia would give you a much worse drawdown than that with about the same return. This is pretty good risk-adjusted returns for a pretty simple portfolio of just two ETFs. Let's open the summary report here. So the Aussie market returned an average of 2% per year with a 10% max drawdown. The global returned 8% per year with the 17% max drawdown, giving us our combined return over here. If we scroll down and look at our equity curve, the green line is our benchmark. That's what we're trying to beat. That's buy and hold of the All Ordinaries. The gray area chart is our combined return from these two portfolios. Orange is our Aussie return. So you can see that's lagging behind the others. That's because we have such a low allocation. We only have 30% of our capital allocated to that market. Whereas the global one, the blue line, nicely tracks the benchmark. However, by combining these two, we get a nice sort of uncorrelated return. If you look at our area chart, there's only benefits for combining these ETFs. It reduces our drawdown and increases our return. So that's pretty solid results right there. Took me 5 minutes to write this script, and now I can verify this information. This is the point of this video, to show you guys the importance and value of checking your homework. Checking other people's homework, I should say. Checking other people's research. When traders spit out numbers and say, this is a good thing to do, don't take that at face value. Go and test it. You don't know if they've tested it. So go and test it. Develop the skill of backtesting and researching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is a good time to plug this, because in future videos I'm going to explore this in more detail. Teach you guys how to do this sort of stuff. I did a poll recently on my channel, and over 80% of you guys are not profitable traders yet. And that kind of broke my heart a little bit. That made me a little bit sad. I know that's the stats. That's the stats we hear. 80%, even 90% of traders aren't profitable. Maybe 10% of you guys lied. I don't know. But that sucks. And a big part of that, I believe, is a lack of understanding of backtesting and verifying trading systems out there. How to verify trading systems. Now, if you are a discretionary trader, I can't really help you backtest that. I can a little bit, but it's a lot more complicated. Systematic traders, you have this at your disposal. It's an invaluable resource. Learn it, master it, and I can't promise you'll become profitable. That's illegal, but I can promise that you'll be better off for it, because this skill has helped me become profitable as a trader. It's helped all my mentors become profitable. It's helped a lot of the traders I follow become profitable. So there's something to it. It works, or it's worked for me. Anyway, let's wrap up the video with these last two. So the aggressive portfolio works nicely. 26% drawdown, 10% annual rate of return, not bad. I think SPY returns about 10% per year, with about a 40 or 50% max drawdown during 2008. So we have already beat the benchmark in terms of risk-adjusted returns, with very simple allocation of just splitting our money between two ETFs. Next up, we have 10% cash, 25%. I'm going to copy this because I won't remember this. So we got 10% cash, 25% ASX, and 65% global. Let's see how this returns. Test, about the same. In fact, even better max drawdown, slightly. But hey, that's even better. Having a 10% cash position or cash ETF. Again, remember, if you used a fixed deposit, at the moment in Australia, I think it's a 4% return for locking up your cash for 12 months in a fixed term deposit bank account with your bank. It's not in the market with an ETF. So it's quote unquote safer. If you think banks are safe, that's a whole discussion for another YouTube channel maybe, or it's definitely another video. So that's interesting. Let's open up the summary report to that. Let's jump back over and run the last allocation, which is for wealth preservation. 30% cash, 20% ASX, and 50% in the global markets. Let's run a test. Now that did shave off quite a bit of our rate of return, but it did reduce our max drawdown, sub 20%. I have to admit, in purely objective terms, these allocations add up. I mean, our aggressive phase did return more than our transition phase. We're talking a fraction of a percent per year on average. Our drawdown was slightly more aggressive. So these numbers add up. This first list is our aggressive accumulation phase. This middle return is our transition phase. The drawdown's getting lower. Our return shrinks a little bit. That's okay. And then in our preservation phase, our return shrinks quite a bit, but so does our max drawdown. We're protecting our capital. So I have to admit, Raymond La, I hope I'm pronouncing that okay, you've done a good job here. I don't know if he backtested this information, but he clearly has an understanding of markets. And don't take my word for it, but this allocation, it does the job. It does what it claims to do, at least in theory. Backtesting results are not indicative of future performance and all of that stuff. But hey, it's interesting. Now, I should mention that I am rebalancing this portfolio at the end of each year on the 1st of July. The reason I'm doing that is to keep each allocation equal. if you're adding to these positions each month, each quarter, each year, you're going to keep these allocations not perfectly, but as close as possible. And so the way of emulating that in a backtest is to rebalance at the end of each year. I could do this each month if I wanted to, but then we run into the issue of tax. Most countries get a significant tax discount if you hold for at least 12 months. So that's why I do it each 1st of July, which is the start of the Australian financial year. Don't ask me why it's in the middle of the year, but it is. And that's a good time to rebalance an Australian system. So with all that said, I want to wrap this up just quickly by showing what the difference would be if we swapped out our high interest cash position for a defensive gold position. So now we're holding a gold ETF. Let's run these tests again. Now this one doesn't invest into cash or gold, so we'll stick with these two. 25, 65, 10. So 25, 65, 10. That is our wealth transition phase. Let's run a test. All right, so we're comparing these two here. So a 10% return becomes a 10.8% return, and our drawdown shrinks a little bit. Now, is it worth the trouble swapping these out? Probably not. These results are into the future. If we extrapolate this into the future, who knows, maybe in another 10 years, this cash portfolio will outperform the gold one. These numbers aren't different enough to really indicate a clear advantage, but it's interesting. If you're a gold person, if you like being in a gold defensive position, that works too, at least over this testing period. And then for the wealth preservation phase, let's look at that. 30% gold, 20% 50. So 20, 50, and 30% gold. Let's test that. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. This beats all of them. This beats all of them. This returns more than the benchmark with a significantly less drawdown. So that's interesting. Let's open up the summary report. I didn't expect that, to be honest. Look at our drawdown through here. This is the COVID crash. Look at all these markets tanking. And at that same time, our purple line is gold. Gold stays where it is while the rest of the markets tank. That protects us. Good defensive position there. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'll leave this script below for you guys to copy into RealTest if you want to play around with this idea. I have a system that I created for my family and friends' children. There's about 6 or 7 kids that just came into the world in the past year or so from cousins, best friends, that sort of thing. And I wanted to invest about $1,000 for each kid into the markets for the next 20 years so that when they turn 18, they can take these investments, this cash, and do what they want with it. I thought that would be a really cool way to teach the younger generation about trading and investing the way I wish someone had taught me when I was 18. I didn't discover trading until I was about 26, 27. I could have done a lot more had I got involved earlier. So this is my system. It invests 40% in a high growth ETF, 40% in the top US companies, and 10% in gold, and 10% in Bitcoin. So this is a very aggressive investment portfolio, but you can afford to do that when you're 1 year old. You can be pretty aggressive when you're 1 year old and you've got free money that someone else has invested for you. You can be pretty aggressive. You could put 100% of this in Bitcoin and see what happens, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be a little bit more responsible. And so let's run a quick import on this and run a quick test on this allocation. Backtest. So as you can see, even my portfolio that I spent weeks developing, it doesn't do quite as well as a simple 3 ETF system: gold, VAS, VGS. So maybe I should reconsider when I rebalance next year, consolidating everything down into those 3 ETFs. Very interesting. Hope you found this video interesting. I hope you found this concept interesting. Make sure to subscribe, sign up to my newsletter if you haven't already. I put out free content each week. I try to put out free content each week, giving information that's helped me in my own trading. Sorry if I spoke really quickly. I just had 2 coffees this morning and I'm buzzing, so I'm ready to get this edited, get this out. Take care. Best of luck with your trading, and I'll speak with you in the next video. Goodbye.